Hello everyone and welcome back. I apologize that it's been a couple of more days since my last video. There wasn't a whole ton to go over at first. 4.2 went live. I figured I'd kind of let that settle for a couple of days. And we have gotten 4.2.1 already in the PTU. Went to Evocati early last week, went to Wave 1, I think it was Friday of last week. I've played that through that a little bit. We are going to go over some points about the PTU today. That's primarily what this video is going to be about. We have some Datamine information, kind of some leaks on a few things, so fair warning, this is going to be a little bit of a spoilery video, but we're going to go over that. We are expecting some further updates to a couple of things this week. We'll talk about that for a minute and just kind of go over all the general news. So let's go ahead and hop right into it. So first, I very briefly wanted to touch on the This Week in Star Citizen announcement. We don't have any video content coming this week as far as I can tell. The big notable thing for this week is going to be on Thursday. One, there's going to be a maintenance window. Restart the servers. Hopefully we'll get maybe a hotfix then, fix some bugs that are in 4.2. The bigger thing though is we are getting on Thursday the referral program revamp comm link. So I assume this is where they're going to lay out how the new referral system is going to work. Maybe we'll get to learn what the new rewards are, the different tiers, those sorts of things. There have been some of the rewards have already technically been like added into the game, like some decorations and things like that. You just can't earn them quite yet, but they have been added into the game already, and I'm sure we'll have more added in soon. But really looking forward to seeing what changes there are with that. So if you want to see those updates, feel free to subscribe to the channel to get that video once I hear what's up with that. But that's really all that's going on this week in Star Citizen. Besides, of course, we'll be getting more PTU patches and whatnot. So now let's move into talking about some of the data mines and new information that we have in regards to 4.2.1. We'll talk about the event, some other various things. So let's go ahead and get into that. So I'll start with a few things from the Pipeline Discord leaks channel. First, we have I think it's some text strings or code strings or something like that that do include wording in relation to quantum boosting, like the HUD for quantum boost. I should have it up on the screen here for you. We got like quantum bubble locked, locking progress, not stabilized, all sorts of things like that. This is probably, just things being added in preparation for once we get the revamped quantum system, which, I don't know if we'll get that this year, maybe at some point, maybe late this year, you never know. But good to see that there's little things being migrated over here and there as they continue to prepare the game for that new system to come in. So just a little interesting thing that I thought I would note that was found here. So then in the Pipeline Discord also, they have some descriptions of kind of what the new event is for 4.2.1, but we also have little bit of a better description of it in the patch notes. So I'll just go ahead and read that off. So this is going to be a resource gathering event. We will talk about the name of the event, supposedly, in a minute here. But here is what it says. So, a shocking discovery reveals that imprint technology is failing. An upsetting number of the population are not actually regenning, meaning that death might not have been conquered after all. To calm the public, Imperator Addison relaxes restrictions on scientific exploration in a desperate effort to find a solution, leading to some dubious research initiatives cropping up in the universe. All four corporations of the Stanton system are fighting for resources to help win a research contract. Whichever corporation has the highest amount of contributed SCU by the end of the event will be the winner of the contract. These resources can be gathered by any means necessary. Players will only be able to partake in the missions if they do not have a CS3 or higher. Players will be tasked with different missions to achieve this, including resource gathering. They ask the player to source and gather X resources. Recover cargo. Players go to retrieve cargo from a vessel that has been broken down/attacked, or retrieve cargo from a stolen stash. Support attacked ship. Defend a cargo ship from waves of pirates trying to destroy and rob the ship. And finally, hauling. Retrieve resources that have been processed and are ready to be delivered. So that's kind of a generalized description of the event. Now let's go ahead and talk about some of the specifics of it, and we will talk about what this might mean for the game. All right, so now I'm going to show you some more data mine information. So, in regards to the name of the event, supposedly this will be called the Goblin Gathering event. Again, this seems to be, in a way, kind of like another iteration of supply or die, because you're going to be gathering resources. It's going to be a little bit more in depth, I think, than supply or die. You get to choose the manufacturers. Although I think it, from what I've heard, it sounds like if you pick, say, Microtech, you're not locked into just doing Microtech contracts. I think you'll be able to do it for all of them, which will be nice because there are what sounds like some pretty nice rewards you can get for all through all the different factions, and it would be, unfortunate if you could only get one of those. So that's apparently the name of the event. And now let's go ahead and we do have a list of the rewards that we're going to be getting. There's some paints and things like that. So now let's go ahead and go through that for a moment. And right before we go through it, we do have a note that there are some new mission contractors. So this is probably going to be some NPCs that will talk to you when you accept missions for the various planets or those corporations. So for Crusader Industries, the NPC or the contractor you talk to will be Denver Samuels. For ArcCorp, it is Ella Tieno. Microtech is Astor Remington, and Hurston Dynamics is Aldous Carmichael. So just a nice little interesting thing to note. Probably some more NPCs with voice lines and all those sorts of good things for when you do those missions for them. All right, so now on to the rewards for this event that we know of. So there are going to be some ship paint rewards. So these paints are going to be for the following ships: the Constellation, the Aurora, Caterpillar, Freelancer, Raft, Spirit, Starlancer, Starlifter, and Zeus. So quite a wide variety of ships there. I do wonder, I would assume for the Constellation it would probably work on all of the variants, I would think. Probably the same for the Freelancer, uh, the Spirit, Starlancer, the Aurora, the all of them. So you'll have quite a few different ships that you could apply these paints to. Now I don't believe we have any actual images of the paints quite yet, but we do know the color schemes of them. So for Hurston, the paints are going to be black and yellow. Crusader, they're going to be blue and black. ArcCorp is going to be red and black, which will probably be my favorite. And Microtech is going to be white and blue. So again, we'll have to see what theme how the paints actually look once we have those. But that is just one of the rewards that we have. We also have some other, smaller things, but still probably some nice rewards you'll be able to get. So now let's take a look at those. All right, so for these other rewards, first we have for a multi-tool, so, this little skinned multi-tool you might be able to get. For Hurston, that color scheme is going to be gray and yellow. Crusader will be blue and white. ArcCorp is red and orange, and Microtech is white and blue. So again, I don't know if this is, maybe one of the low-level rewards as part of the event, because it seems like there are a couple different tiers for rewards that you build up through. We'll take a look at that in a moment as well. So we have that, and then we also have some rewards of a skinned Volt pistol, which I have not seen yet in the PTU. Supposedly it's in. I don't know entirely where you're going to get it yet, but for some skins on that, if you get a Hurston themed one, it's going to be black and orange. Crusader will be blue and white. ArcCorp red and yellow. Microtech white and blue. And then we also have for Gray Cat, gray and orange. Pyrotech, Pyrotechnic, I would assume, yellow and blue. And Shubin red and orange. Now I do wonder, because those last three corporations, they're not one of the main corporations as far as I know that are part of this event. So maybe that's just some other kind of random loot that you can find, or maybe if you're doing missions with those factions or at locations that kind of belong to those factions, you'd be able to loot those sort of variants of the Volt pistol. I'm not entirely sure, but I am very excited to hopefully try and collect every single one of those. I love collecting all the colors of the different guns and stuff that we get. So if you think that these are good rewards, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the comments. Do you think these are good? Is it going to be worth doing this event for some paints and some gun skins and whatnot? Or do you think maybe there's something else that they should give us? Maybe, an in-game ship reward or something like that. If you have any thoughts on that, I'd love to hear that in the comments below. And then next we have some other kind of various data mines to go over. First is a new ship entry. You may have already heard of this possibly, but if you haven't, again, this will be a little bit of a spoiler. Apparently the RSI Meteor, which was a ship that was teased about in name only by John Crew about, I want to say a month ago or so, um, maybe a month and a half ago. Uh, it is apparently a Mantis variant. It's very possible it could be the Mantis variant that was hinted at or talked about a little bit at the Star Citizen Live. I think that was in March with the vehicle concept team. I was really surprised that it turns out to be a Mantis variant because when that Star Citizen Live had happened, they were apparently so early in the process that they didn't even have any concept art to show us. So unless it's another variant of the Mantis, and that had already been going, and the one we heard about in SCL, still being worked on. Don't know, but the only differences that we know of right now is that it has the addition of a weapon locker / rack. And it has a slightly altered component layout. Now, I have also heard, I have not checked this myself yet, that the regular Mantis in the 4.1 or 4.2.1 PTU has had its interior reworked, and it looks a lot more kind of like a similar interior styling to the Zeus. So that's probably in preparation for this to come out. I think the regular Mantis also has component access now, which I don't think it did before. So we do have a little bit of imagery I can show you here in just a moment. This apparently of the Meteor. It's not a whole lot. It's kind of just a bare bones 3D model. But let's go ahead and take a look at that for just a moment. All right, so here we have two little pictures here. So the first one you should be seeing is just kind of an exterior. It's a exterior shot of just the interior model of the ship. So there's not a whole lot you can glean from this part. But if we go to the next image, this gives again a pretty bare bones 3D model view of the inside of the ship. A couple of things to note. You can see there's kind of to the left side, looks like a component bay. Also in the floor, looks like there's a component bay. And then I think there's the back, there's like a hole in the back there. I think that's the elevator that comes up into the ship. Then on the right side wall, I think that's where your bed would probably be. So again, this is apparently the interior for the Meteor. Just doesn't have all the nice art and stuff on there quite yet. So again, this confirms that it is some sort of Mantis variant. Whether or not it's that one they talked about a few months ago, we'll have to see. But very interested to see what they end up doing with this, because I know that the Mantis is, for a long time been kind of just a one-trick pony because of the quantum interdiction. So we'll have to see what new uses they can give it. I assume whatever this version, though, probably will not have that quantum interdiction and will have some other focus. So that's all that I have at the moment on the Meteor. So then let's go ahead and transition back to some of the other data mines and stuff that we have to look at. So next we have a new Chairman's Club reward, the concierge reward. I don't know if this is just, some a reward you get for being at a certain tier of concierge, the base tier, whatever it is. Apparently there's a new Artemex armor set. Maybe it's themed. A lot of the concierge stuff is kind of a gold theme, so maybe it's a skin of that. But that has been added in apparently. We also have some new Wicklow recipes. These are for some rifles and environment suits. So we have the Coda pistol, Novikov exploration suit, Karna rifle S71, the Venture armor ascension, and the Xanthul ascension suit. So probably just going to be skins for these, or something like that. That's kind of the Wicklow theme skin on those items. So nothing too crazy there. I have not seen anything yet on any more new ships being added to the Wicklow pool of ships. I wouldn't be surprised if we get that, though. We do also have a new commodity being added, and that is irradiated Valakar hide, thick skin that grows over a forming Valakar pearl. So maybe that'll be used for something, or it'll just become another one of those kind of random commodities that maybe is worth trading, maybe not. So that's about all we know on it. New commodity that's being added there. All right, so now we have some data mines of potentially some upcoming events. So this is things that might be after 4.2.1. Again, nothing of this is confirmed yet. We don't know for sure, but this is just what has been put in the files thus far, so I will share it with you. So first we have what is called Apex Ageddon, seemingly utilizing additional mining facilities similar, if not the ones from the Hathor event, to summon an Apex Valakar. Currently set up similarly to the recent Irradiated Valakar event, where the worm is constrained to a single arena. Not a lot of information is present beyond the setup for the boss arena, which includes setup for the Spallworm minion spawns as well as tags for 4 associated mining facilities. So potentially we get some other additional locations where you can fight the normal Apex Valakar, which I believe is supposed to be larger in size than the Irradiated Apex, but just not having the same irradiated, features that one does that we have currently. So that'll be interesting to fight an even larger worm if that ends up being the case. Maybe that'll be the August patch. Wouldn't be surprised. So really interesting stuff to see there. And then the other big thing to talk about from this section is something else that potentially is maybe part of an August patch, September, or something around there. I don't know. Maybe it's part of 4.2.1. Probably not, but this is called the Onyx Facility Delves. Currently unknown if these locations as a whole are disconnected from the currently in-game ASD facilities. However, these appear to be more akin to traditional game dungeons in design. A linear, objective-based mission where the player is tasked through an abandoned ASD facility called Onyx. A quick read of the objectives involved are as follows. 1. Get radiation readings. 2. Get security data. 3. Hijack the data. And 4. Data gathering. Analysis of the currently available localization indicates this mission is some sort of escort-based dungeon crawl where they take Dr. Jorrit and lead them through the facility as guided by an ASD-affiliated mercenary captain. Dr. Jorrit is kind of this, we've heard him in some audio logs with 4.2. He seems like kind of the mad scientist that's been behind some of the research that ASD has been doing. The associated text implies that the dungeon is heavily creature/non-human enemy focused, so maybe, Copian, Valakar, something like that, maybe something new, potentially. It would not be surprising if this content was separated out for a PvE focus through instancing or another method of group isolation due to how the objectives are set up. I think with how this sounds, you definitely would want something like this to be instanced, because otherwise it's, inevitably you're going to run into people trying to ruin other people's day, unfortunately. So it would be interesting to see something like a dungeon experience instance like this to show that they can do that. It'd probably help them get more feedback and data and stuff to improve those in the future. So really interesting on that, and I'm excited to play through it whenever we get it. But yeah, that is the major kind of future patch event leaks/datamines that I have seen so far. So now I think we're getting close to the end of what I have to take a look at today. We're going to take a quick look at some of the tier rewards for the current event that'll be coming in 4.2.1. So for this section, to illustrate this, there is in the PTU, in your Moby-Glass, there's a section you can look at where it actually will display the readouts of the different corporations and who's in the lead, what your contributions are, kind of what stage you're at in getting the different tiers of rewards. You should be able to see that here. So you can see the system total SCU, you can see your total SCU. There's some different benchmarks you need to get to for different rewards. So that kind of helps us understand the different tiers that they're going to have, So then let's take a look at some of the rewards, the tiers. So tier 1 is going to be a jumpsuit and a multi-tool. I have not seen anything particularly mentioned about the jumpsuit, but I would assume whatever, corporation it's for, it's going to be one themed after them. So you get jumpsuit and a skinned multi-tool. Tier 2 will be armor and a Volt Pistol, probably some sort of armor set. Don't know entirely what yet. I'm sure that will be skinned as well. And then those Volt Pistols that we talked about a little bit earlier. Tier 3 will be the Aurora, C1 Spirit, and Zeus ship paint skins and a Volt Shotgun. Whether or not that Volt Shotgun has a unique skin, don't know. Probably will. Tier 4 is the Argo Raft, Freelancer, and Constellation ship paints, and a Volt SMG. Volt SMG will probably be skinned as well. And then finally, for our Tier 5 reward, we have the Starlancer, Caterpillar, and Starlifter ship skins, plus a Volt rifle that I would assume will be skinned as well. So I'd say a pretty good spacing out of the different rewards. So it should help incentivize going through that. Like, so if it ends up being you can do all the manufacturers, there's a lot of different rewards you can get. So it's definitely going to incentivize people kind of grinding, getting those resources, turning that in so they can get all those, hopefully really cool rewards. So I'm very much looking forward to participating in that once this goes live. And I think that is going to do it. That is all the information that I have at the moment in terms of data mines and leaks for different things. Again, there should be some more patches coming this week that we should be able to get some more information out of. I'll probably have a video up. The next one I'll probably make is probably going to be Thursday, covering the com link for the updated referral system, and then whatever other changes we have for patches and whatnot. We're definitely going to check those out as well. If you have any thoughts on what we talked about in today's video, anything you're looking forward to in particular, maybe some things you think should change or whatnot that could make the event better, I'd love to hear any of your thoughts down in the comments. If you'd like to see more Star Citizen news videos, feel free to subscribe to the channel. And if you enjoyed this one, feel free to leave it a like, as it really helps the channel out. But until next time, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the verse.